Harvest all was gathered in the sunny autumn weather, to the greenwood blithe and merry.
Well, it's another cold, fresh day in Dorset, but it's another glorious sunny one, and yeah, you're going to make the most of these, because forecasters are already suggesting that we're heading for another period of wet grey weather again. So you've got to make the most of these bright sunny days that we're having at the moment and get out walking. So I'm out on another walk today, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to this because I'm heading up onto the Purbeck Ridge again. Different part of the ridge than I walked last time though. But if you haven't seen that video, I'll put a link up there if I can work out how to do it. So it should be a good day. So yeah, as I said in my earlier video, the Purbeck Ridge, Purbeck Hills, stretch some 12 miles from Flowers Barrow in the west through to Ballard Point in the east, which is the point where it drops down to Old Harry Rocks. So in my earlier video I walked the western part of that from Creech Hill to Corfe. So this morning I've started from Corfe and I'm going to walk the eastern section, and I'm going to play it by ear a little bit. My arthritic ankle hasn't been so good this week, following a bit of a heavy walk on Monday. So I'm going to play it by ear, follow my nose a little bit, but I'm going to walk up onto the ridge and follow the ridge along, probably right to the end at Ballard Point. But at that point I may drop down into Swanage and possibly get the bus back, depending on how I feel at the time and how my ankle holds up. For those of you that haven't been following me, I've got arthritis in my right ankle, and it's become quite bad over the last couple of years, which is hampering my walking. And I've put up a video about this, so again I'll try and put a link up above to that if anybody's watching this and is interested in arthritis and my struggles, if you like, or if you've got arthritis or whatever, you might want to have a look at that video. So I'll put a link up above for that one as well, if I can if I can work out the technology and how to do it. Anyway, so I'm climbing up onto the Purbeck Ridge, east of Corfe Castle, and there are two ways up: short and sharp or long and slow. So I decided I'm taking the long and slow this morning. Bit of a slightly gentler start to the day, but as you can see, it's such a glorious day. And that's where I've come from. See Corfe Castle there. Across the other side you can see the Purbeck Hills, where I walked last week, I think it was. I walked that ridge, dropped down into Corfe Castle for lunch. So I've picked up from there today. I'm walking up east. So yeah, follow me as I walk. There's interesting things along the way as well. Just look at that sort of view already. I haven't been walking that long.
We heard a sweet voice calling us, though no one
For lunchtime, that makes a lovely little spot to sit. But it's far too early for lunch. I've got a lot of work walking to do.
We ate our fruit and rested on a fallen tree, moss grown, and still a voice was calling in the softest, tenderest tone. And through the woods we wandered along, so deep and dark and green. We heard a sweet voice calling us, though no one could be seen.
So I said it was long and slow, and it is, especially this side, heading east from Corfe Castle. You can get up onto the ridge quickly by a steep, short, sharp, steep part, but once you're on the ridge gradually climbs, so it's a slow climb to reach the highest point. So yes, quite a long drag up here, but having said that, it's a nice path. I've talked in my previous videos about grassy paths, and this is one of them. And of course you get the views as well all around. I've actually got the ridge almost to myself today. I've seen one person's just gone past me, but apart from that I don't think I've seen anybody else up here. And that's nice in many ways. But I am glad I've got my windproof jacket on, because there's quite a stiff breeze blowing across here. There's a lot of corvids up here. And that's where we come from. And still we continue to climb. But you can see in this now that you can see Swanage, which is down in the valley next to the sea, of course. It's a seaside resort. It looks close, but there's a fair bit of walking to do before I reach Swanage, if I reach Swanage, if I don't know which way I'm going to go yet. Normally when I walk this route, this would be part of a long route, 15, 16 miles, 17 maybe, I'm not sure, which would take me all along the ridge, down around Old Harry Rocks, into Studland and beyond, and then cross heathland, and eventually I would wind up back at Corfe Castle again, the starting point. At the moment I'm got to be sensible. Well, to be honest, I walk slower, it's necessary that I walk slower at the moment. It's one of my ways of protecting the ankle, and I wouldn't have enough daylight hours, I don't think, to be able to do it this time of year. but that would be my norm, so I'm having to be a bit creative at the moment in how I do my walks. What would be the ideal would be to walk the way I'm going and drop down into Swanage and pick up the steam railway back to Corfe, but unfortunately steam railway is not running at the moment, so if I do that it might have to be the bus. Never mind, I'm loving this, being out on the Purbeck Hills again. I said in one of my earlier videos that this is an old stamping ground. Been walking these ways since I was a kid, because I'm East Dorset born and bred. As I may have said before, I was born in East Dorset, lived here all my life for 75 years. Unlikely that I'm going to move out of Dorset now, so I'm Dorset through and through. So yes, been walking this. Normally, as I said before, I would have been walking as a kid in my school uniform, because that's about all we had in those days. And yeah, maybe that shaped a little bit my view of walking gear, possibly, because we had none in those days. In fact, I'm not sure anybody did, really. Didn't exist. I think walking gear manufacturers have almost created a market for themselves, which is what often happens. But yes, anyway, shape my view of walking gear. I'm a preserver rather than a replacer, I think. So my trusty waterproof North Face jacket that I'm wearing is 30 years, maybe even 40 years old. Underneath that I've got my thickest Berghaus fleece, which is a similar age and still going strong. Underneath that I've got my base layer, which is a merino base layer, and that must be probably 15 years old, and it's been stitched up a few times. Ooh. But that's still going strong. So I'm definitely a preserver in my approach to gear, and I love the fact that I've been wearing this jacket for nearly 40 years. It's been with me all over the place. It's walked, I wonder how many miles my jacket's walked. Interesting, that. Something I could tell. It's got to be a lot, and still it serves me well, so it's good. And I like that. I like the fact that it's got history, if you like, part of my history. Maybe that's silly, people probably don't agree with that a lot, but anyway, that's my take on equipment. Wear it till it falls apart, replace it when necessary. And I'm still climbing, gentle climb up. So we're now coming up onto 9 Barrow Down. That's an interesting name. Names intrigue me, where they came from. 9 Barrow Down, you would assume it's because there are 9 barrows, ancient burial mounds along the ridge, and certainly there are Bronze Age burial mounds. 9? I'm not sure. I have tried counting them, but it's really difficult to count, because as always they kind of disappear. Erosion, centuries of farming practices, so they can actually be flattened and disappear. So I read on one website, it was a kind of archaeological type website, where they probably would know what they're doing. That described there being 10 Bronze Age barrows, or actually I think there's mostly Bronze Age. I think there's one Neolithic long barrow as well. But I've seen on other websites that there were probably double that number. So it's hard to know really. There are certainly a lot of burial mounds up here, and somehow it got its name 9 Barrow Down. And as I say, I've tried counting them unsuccessfully, but this is one of them. I'm just climbing up onto one. I stand up the top here. If you can hear me, you can see I'm on one. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, possibly 7. Don't know that I can count any more than that. There's none behind me because it's flat. But certainly there's a fair cluster of barrows, which is probably why it got its name. What intrigues me actually is, how did it get its name in the first place? Who names these things? Is there somebody in Parliament? Is there a Ministry of Hills who sit there and their role is to look at all the hills and think, oh, we'll call this one whatever, Creech or something? I don't think that's true. I think the way it works actually, picture the site, picture this as a scene. Back in the Stone Age days, you got a Stone Age guy down on the heathland of Dorset. He's got his newfangled stone phone and he's texting his friend across the other side in the Purbeck Valley and says, hey dude, fancy a meet up for a coffee? And the Purbeck Valley Stone Age man messages back on his stone phone, yeah man, I'm up for that. Shall we meet at the top of the hill, the one that's got the 9 barrows on it? So the other guy sends back his thumbs up emoticon, and so they meet up on 9 Barrow Down, or the barrow with 9 barrows, for their coffee. And that's the kind of the way it works, I guess, and it just becomes known as the hill with 9 barrows or whatever, and gradually that becomes its name, 9 Barrow Down. So that's my theory. I reckon that's how it works. Stone Age phones. I've always got a good imagination. So amazing view down on this side, as you can see. The ferry is really clear today, the harbour entrance, and you can see from this vantage point, if I scan round, you can see how huge Poole Harbour is. 100 miles of coastline within Poole Harbour, one of the largest natural harbours in the world. Strangely, the average depth of the water is only about 18 inches or something like that, so it's quite a lot of shallow marshes and that sort of thing as well. But yeah, you can see the view from up here, and equally down the other side. Let's go back up onto the last barrow and have a spin round. So that's Poole Harbour. That's where we've just come from. Purbeck Valley. Swanage down in the distance. And actually I'm not on the last barrow because there's another one ahead of me. In fact, there might even be one ahead of that, a small one. So this is a great vantage point up here, and it's amazing today, glorious. The only thing I miss is the summer butterflies. You get the common blue and the little blue, the kind of chalk hill butterflies, and of course the skylarks, which I've referred to before. They would normally be singing over here in the summer, and on a still day it's a truly amazing place to come and to just be.
Talk with me, tell me how you changed the world and rewrote this story. Oh, tell me how you fell apart and went in secrecy. I could walk alone, but would you walk with me?
As you can see, it's also known as Elwood Down. It's even more confusing. We've got to head this way, and we're still climbing. We haven't actually reached the highest point along this ridge yet. That's up in front of us. So the highest point is Godlingston, which is the hill straight ahead of us. That one's about 200 meters, not massively high, but it actually fits the definition of a Marilyn. So this is a Dorset Marilyn. Definition of that is it's a hill which has 150 meters plus prominence above the surrounding land, so it's less about the height of the hill than its height compared to the land around. And obviously the Purbeck Valley down the side is low, so it makes this a Marilyn, and that's the highest point on the ridge, which we're going to climb over any minute. So one of the sad things I think about Godlingston Hill is there used to be a trig point on the top. Not that I'm a bagger of trig points by any means, but a trig point is a trig point. It's a historic thing, and it, to me, should still be there. But somehow the farmer got permission to remove it. So the trig point is no longer at the top. It was actually dumped on the side of this hill just down here. So I don't know if it's still there, but we'll see in a minute when we get there. The other thing about this area, which goes back to my youth, is there used to be 2 World War II lookout points. That hump there is one of them. There's another one just down here to the right of the track. And when I was a kid, I don't know, 8, 9, 10, whatever, and we used to walk over here pretty regularly. We used to love going down into those because they were open, you could go down into them, and we used to love doing that. But can't do that now because they've all been filled in or blocked up. So yeah, you can't go into the historic places now like we used to be able to, and we used to have good fun too. We can see Swanage now down there. We're going to head over that way because the track bends around to the right. Top of Godlingston Hill has aerials, of course, as you'd expect, I guess. Take a little detour down here. There's the trig point, dumped on its side unceremoniously. Don't know how they got away with it, really, how they got permission, but there you go. And this is what was a World War II lookout post, which is no longer. So we now start to descend. We've got to skirt round the side of this Godlingston Hill and drop down, right down to the road, cross over the road, and then I've got to climb up again up the other side because there's another gap. The Purbeck Hills, it's 12 miles long, the ridge, but there's a couple of places where there are gaps and it drops down. They're like passes, I suppose, and the road goes over. So we've got to go over that and down the other side. But down here there's quite a nice seat which makes a good spot for lunch, so I'm hoping that will be free because it's getting on towards lunchtime now, so I might sit there and have a sandwich. What often happens, Murphy's Law kicks in and somebody else has got there before me, but we'll see. So my seat was vacant. And this is the view. And not only that, I'm down the side of the hill, so there's no wind either. So it's a perfect spot to sit and have lunch. Perfect. Cheers. Ah, it's wonderful. Hello. There's a little robin sat on the bramble just near me. I think he's probably eyeing up my sandwich, aren't you? Want a bit of sandwich? We shouldn't. Oh. Oh. You've gone. Oh, he's back. Come on then. There's a bit. Yeah. Well, that was a very nice lunch spot, but it's time to get walking again. Continue down this long track which stretches around the hill, gradually dropping down, but with truly awesome views all the way along. You can see Swanage down there clearly. There's what appears to be a little bit of mist, but I don't think it is. I think there's a fire burning, a farm or something in the valley is burning something, and it's blowing a bit of smoke across my scene. So you can see there how it drops down. You can see the gap, and you can see the hill the other side, which is where we will be climbing up in a minute. And right in the distance you can see the Isle of Wight as well, quite clearly showing in the sun. Such an awesome day, and yeah, really enjoying this walk. I enjoy all of them, but on a day like this it's just great. I'm out of the wind, there's a bit of warmth in the sun, believe it or not, and it's just great. So you can actually see now where I'm going to be walking. Obviously I've got to go down this track, come out right at the bottom on the road, cross over the road. The hill the other side is where I'm going to climb up to, and you can see it's a slopey, steep, slopey hill in there by some shrubbery that I'm going to be climbing up. It's quite a steep climb. There is an easier route, but I'm going to take the harder route. Hello, missus. You right? Hello. Oh, no need to stand for me.
The edge of the rolling sea, I could walk alone, but would you walk with me? Talk with me, tell me how you changed the world.
Here we get the splitting of the ways, and there is two ways of going, an easy and a hard. As I said earlier, the easy way goes down the bottom and climbs gently up to the top of the hill, to the ridge. The other way goes straight up the side steeply where they're coming down, and that's the way I'm going to go. Do the hard way. There's a big bird up there, bird of prey. Can't see what it is, a little bit too far away from me. I don't have binoculars with me. Still, stopping to watch it, it's a good excuse to have a rest. With me. It's a little bit better on the steps now. Makes it slightly easier, I think.
Oh
seen one relic from London already down the bottom, the metal gate post, and this is another one. These London relics that find their way into Dorset are thanks to George Burt, and this one was brought from London in 1892. It's on that, actually on or very near or next to prehistoric Barrow, round Barrow, but it was put up originally to commemorate the first water supply to Swanage. That was in 1883. In 1941 it had to be taken down again, and the reason for that is in World War II it could be used by the enemy as a navigation aid, and obviously they didn't want that, so they took it down. It was re-erected in 1973, but when they came to re-erect it, they discovered that one of the stones, the lower stone, was damaged, so it couldn't be used. So it sits beside it now. So the obelisk, to commemorate the first water supply in Swanage, is now 5 foot shorter than it should have been, but it's a really nice vantage point. And in fact, over on the other side you can see Godlingston Hill, so that's over there. You can see the aerials that are over there. And there's a notice board to give information. And I like this place, I like this obelisk, especially against a blue sky like this. It's awesome. So we've nearly finished our climbing now. We've come up the steep side to the obelisk. We're on top of the Ballard Down. We've got a little bit of climbing here to do to reach the high point of Ballard Down. So I've now reached the high point of Ballard Down. It's such a clear day. You can see everything crystal clear down there. It's amazing. So from this point it's a long steady slope, grassy slope, all the way down to Ballard Point. Nice walking this is, but there's a strong wind blowing from the left, so I don't know if that will affect the microphone. So this is trying to keep the wind out of the microphone a bit. This is an amazing way to walk. This is down to the left you've got Studland down below the hill here, and then right across Sandbanks where I was walking the other day, Sandbanks of Shell Bay, Sandbanks Ferry, Bournemouth, Hengistbury Head in the distance, and straight in front of us the Isle of Wight, which is standing out clear as a bell, and down the other side we've got Swanage and the Purbeck Valley. So it's a really great way to walk. And you're heading down, looking at that view down a gentle slope, and on a glorious day as well. Once again, it's Dorset at its best, isn't it? Amazing. Funny how the seasons change. There's lambs up here. There's a little young one there right in front of me. I won't go over and disturb it. Once was a time when lambs appeared in spring. Now they appear in midwinter. This is another relic from my youth. I remember as a kid, I used to come up here. This is Rest and Be Thankful. Stone seat that's been there all my life. As a kid we used to love to come up here and sit on that. It actually says on it, Rest and Be Thankful, but not very visible. It's worn and it's somewhat the worse for wear now. But apart from my shadow, it's a great place to sit with amazing views down over there, down over there, down over there. Probably not today. There's a really strong wind blowing across here. So you can see how unusual this wind is just by the trees. You can see that tree is leaning towards the north. It's normally prevailing winds will be southwesterly here, but today's is very much a northerly wind blowing, so they're blowing against the trees. But still the slope continues downwards. Still haven't reached the point yet. Well, at least this trig point is still in place. It's a bit better now, because I think I'm slightly down off the ridge. I'm out of the wind, so that's a bit better. And I'm just heading now to the tip, the Ballard point, which is the tip, which is where I'm going to turn off. I have choices, but yeah, you've got to turn off. Now the interesting thing is, if this was millions of years ago, I could keep walking straight on, because at one time the Isle of Wight was part of, the Isle of Wight incidentally is what you can see in the distance, the white cliffs across the water. That was originally part of the same chalk ridge that I'm on. So you'd have been able to walk straight across the water to the Isle of Wight, all along the top. If you wouldn't want to do it now, I think you'd probably get wet feet. Interesting thought though, isn't it? So over to the left you can just see the white cliffs. That's on the way down to Old Harry Rocks, which is where I'd like to go, but I'm not going to. We're going to save that for another day, because I think I'm going to head the other way to the right. But this down here is Ballard Point. So that would be the way if we were going to go down to Old Harry Rocks. But at this point I'm going to head south, which will be quite pleasant because it'll be down the southern side of the ridge, which means there should be shelter from the wind all the way down. And of course we've been on the Purbeck Way today. So we're going to head down this track. Wow, that's a crazy angle to be climbing on. What he's doing is he's cutting the grass or something by the looks. That's pretty steep. Hope he's got good brakes. No, rather him than me. So you can see the whole of Swanage Bay from here, and we're going to drop right down onto the beach. So the last little bit we'll be walking along the beach down there. It'll be a very pleasant way to finish a walk. And here he comes again. It's not the grass he's cutting, I think it's probably all of the gorse and all the undergrowth that's appearing. Taking quite a good job of it as well, comparing the foreground to the background. There's a poor little bird in the top of one of the bushes up here. Oh, it's not a bird. Oh, it's a little mouse. I don't know if you can pick that up. It's a little tiny mouse. Oh, he's just come down off it. Oh. Oh, I hope he's alright. I don't want him getting mowed. Hopefully he'll hear the tractor coming.
No, I couldn't see it. Really
Dodgy. Like it's impassable to get down to the beach this way. So the best laid plans of mice and men are often defeated by erosion. I can't get down on the beach where I expected, so I just stopped for another drink of Bovril on the seat looking out to sea. And now I'm going to carry on along the coast and into Swanage. And it's still a lovely day, or a lovely evening almost. Of course, the thing with Swanage is you lose the sun on the beach in the afternoon because it's setting inland. A lovely scene though, isn't it? So I'm now on Swanage Beach. This is the end of my walk. I've got just a short distance to go. But by the time I get to the finish, which is not far away, I will have done around about 10 miles probably, which is a good winter walk, I think. And today has been just phenomenal. Just the light, the sun, still on the headland over there. That's Ballard Down, and obviously down to Ballard Point where we walked earlier, and I followed that cliff top all the way down into Swanage. And so this is the end of the walk. So yeah, thanks for coming with me. It's been an awesome day. I hope you've enjoyed it too. And for now, this is the Dorset Rambler, me saying until next time.
Things of the world scarce seem over so